And next one, sexual dimorphism. Sexual aspect means sexual characteristics. That means the difference between the male and female. The sex. Dimorphism. Di means two. Morphism means physical characteristics. Morphology means physical appearance. Morphology. Di means two. Sexual dimorphism means the physical differences between males and females of a species. That means males look different and females look different. That is what we call sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism is nothing but the stark differences between the physical differences between the males and the females. Obviously, you can see here as an example, male gorillas are larger than the female gorillas. A typical example of sexual dimorphism. The same thing applies to the humans as well, right? So when you're talking about the humans, right? So average height of male is bigger compared to that of female, right? So male are taller compared to that of the females on an average. That is sexual dimorphism. That is sexual dimorphism. Another example, hips, right? The females have broader hips compared to that of the males. Females have broader hips compared to that of the females. That is sexual dimorphism. That is sexual dimorphism. Next one, adaptation. Adaptation. So you all know, so we keep on telling that you have to adapt, right? So what is adaptation? The trait, the character. A character, trait means a characteristic. Trait means characteristic that increases an organism's chance of survival in the environment, right? Adaptation is nothing but a trait, if attribute or a characteristic that increases an organism's chance of survival in the environment. That is what we call adaptation. So when you're talking about adaptation, right? So when you say humans, adaptation to different climatic conditions, right? So I said in the tropical regions, they are lean, whereas in temperate regions, they are bulky, right? Why they are bulky, right? Because it is a colder, climatic condition, right? So they have to retain more amount of the heat. So that's why the fat is developed, acting as an insulator in the temperate regions. So that's why they appear bulky. They are very bulky. All the temperate animals are bulky, tropical or not. And when you take fox, right? So the ears of the fox in the tropical regions are long so that they lose heat, right? But when you are talking about temperate regions, the ears will be smaller, right? So that they do not lose heat. And at the same time, fur. So in the tropical regions, they will not have any fur in the body, animals. Whereas when you're talking about the temperate regions, it is covered with complete fur so that heat is not lost. So this is the way the animals as well as humans adapt to different climatic conditions, increasing their chance of survival in the worst of the climatic conditions. So that is what we call adaptation. So the same thing we use in our daily life, that you have to adapt to different circumstances so that there is a chance of survival in that particular organization or in the life is higher, right? The long neck of the giraffe is an adaptation that it helps reach high tall trees. So that is adaptation. That is adaptation. Natural selection. The nature selects. The nature selects. The process by which organisms better adapted to their environment tend to survive and reproduce more offsprings, right? As we have discussed in the science and technology class, so every time genetic mutation happens, changes in the genetical sequence happens, that creates new organism, right? So it is mutated organism, new mutated organisms. Whether this mutated organism can propagate or not, that depends upon the nature. That depends upon the nature. So that is what we call natural selection. That is what we call natural selection. If this area is tree, so if red color marks I put, you can easily identify, and the predators can easily identify the red color on this black background. So what if I change the color? What if I take black color? So any other organism with black color, how much ever I write, right, you will not be able to identify, right? So the predator cannot see that particular color, right? So because of any kind of genetical variation, if that particular color is not able to see, so there is a better chance of survival for those particular species, but the red color species might become extinct. That is natural selection. The nature decides, right? The process by which organisms better adapted to those environment, those are adapted, tend to survive and reproduce more offsprings. They survive and they reproduce. That is natural selection. That is natural selection. Okay. And evolution. So when you're talking about evolution, these are gradual change in species over time. Gradual changes in the species over time, driven by mechanisms such as natural selection. Because of the natural selection, evolution occurs, right? Gradually, because of mutation associated with selection, species evolves. Suddenly, if there is climate change, right? Suddenly, if there is a climate change, so obviously only the humans that are better adapted to those climatic conditions can survive. All the others will become extinct. And that new species that actually survived, right, means that they are evolved. They are evolved. So there can be some certain changes. There are a few humans which can stay underwater for at least 30 minutes easily without taking breath, right? So that is an evolutionary change, right? If everything is submerged, obviously they will be able to survive, right? Example, the evolution of the humans from the early hominids, Homo habilis, to the Homo sapiens over the millions of years, that is evolution. So how we have come into existence is because of evolution.